Hey, what's up, everybody? Zach here with another episode of The Zach Pearson Show. On today's episode, I have my friend Nick Gawreluk and Damon Kelly on, and we just go balls deep in discussing our trip to Vietnam back in 2017. So it's been a while since we've all caught up. Thought it would be a lot of fun to just get together via Zoom while we are all in different areas of the world experiencing whatever coronavirus craziness is going on, and reminisce on good times had in the wonderful country of Vietnam. Back in 2017, we took a road trip. Actually, Nick and I took a road trip to the southern part of Vietnam. Ended up renting our bikes, meeting this other guy named Damon, who we had no idea who he was at the time. Traveled with him for a few days, had some crazy experiences, ended up becoming friends, have stayed connected over the years, and it's been a while since we all chatted and talked. So this is our conversation about all things Vietnam and all things of what we've been up to since then. It's a really interesting conversation. A lot of fun has been had and is had on the show, and we're all doing some really interesting and cool things. Nick is in Germany, and Damon, who the hell knows where that guy is these days? He is just all over the place. So here we go.
Here we are.
Boys.
The band is back together.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Damon, good to see you, man.
Yeah, mate. Long time, boys. Long time.
Rocking the long flow. I'm jealous.
Well, hey. Oh, apparently on the floor. Here, like, Jesus. I'll put it somewhere more safe this time. My goodness. There we go. All right. I might have had a couple of whiskeys. All right.
Perfect, man.
May I just say, this is a fine beverage. This one right here. Tip top.
What is old Pulteney?
Correct. Yeah.
Is this Scotch?
Yeah, Scotch, mate. It's a great time.
Nice. Looks like you cleared it.
Yeah, maybe. That was all tonight, right? That was 3 nights worth. But,
so, Damon, did you pick up your bike this weekend? Did we both pull the trigger on some new wheels?
I think we might have. Yeah. What did you get? I got a BMW 850R.
Dude, that's awesome.
Excellent.
Well,
I don't know
Nick?
anything about bikes other than our crappy Hondas that Zach and I had, but I know BMW bikes are definitely respected, good brand.
Yeah.
They're like million mile bikes, right?
Something like that. I haven't had much of a chance to ride it yet, but it's scary riding here. Like us in Vietnam, right? Scooters and motorbikes is the norm. Like, but here it's not. So you're on the highway, right? People don't see you. That's terrifying compared to. Well, that was chaotic in Vietnam. They actually looked after us there.
I know.
I felt like they did.
I tell that to people all the time when they have like the Revel bikes here, like the similar style bike that we were riding in Vietnam, but you can like rent them, kind of like an Uber or something, or a scooter. I tell people all the time, I'm like, it's like mad chaos in Vietnam, but everybody's like involved in it. And so you just kind of like veer this way. It's like a video game,
Yeah.
Everyone's
it's like Frogger, but motorbikes.
And if they are, like, it's like 1 out of 100, and like you just go with the flow. Even though it's when you first dive in, you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. But I would not ride a bike in DC or America, probably, unless it's like a highway.
What's going on there, mate? As far as I know, you boys are from Denver, right? What the hell are you doing in Washington?
I live here
on the
now.
other side of the country.
Yeah.
You live there now.
I've been here 2 years.
Yeah.
Zach's always moving and grooving, and now he wants to move to Maine, up northeast.
So you're like here, and you want to go to like, I don't know how to.
I want to go
there.
get somewhere with mountains, And Maine doesn't have a lot of mountains, but it has a few more. But somewhere outdoorsy.
True.
Eventually, we'll see. We'll see how things pan out. It's kind of right now. But Nick, what kind of car did you get?
It's a brand that we don't have in the States. It's called an Opel, but it's a GM car.
Okay.
And
so
Opel
it's
Astra.
supposed to be Chevy. Chevrolet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So you got a
it's
Vauxhall Opal. Sorry, Opal. Yeah. Anyway, that car.
Did
All right,
you?
I'll do
Did
the
you
job.
get a minivan?
it's more of a
Small
wagon.
sedan.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
wagon. But that's perfect because for road trips and like hauling bikes, if we have guests, I mean, all the European cars are so small. Kelly and I said, like, if we get in a crash, we're gonna get crushed. So at least here, there's a
Man,
little
you
more
live in Germany,
protection.
mate. The people over there in Germany, they actually know how to drive. Speaking of which, what part of Germany are you in?
So I'm south of Frankfurt by about an hour in a
South of
small city
Frankfurt.
called Heidelberg, and it's actually pretty well known.
A
as
small
like
city, the major bloody student city of Germany.
Have you
Yeah.
been to Germany much, Damon?
I was there in 2015,
Okay.
2018, but I've only been to Heidelberg once, and yeah, it's a nice place. It's on the Rhine, as far as I know. Yeah,
Rhine and the Neckar is like right there, but yeah, you know it. Super scenic castle. Yeah.
yeah, it's a good place, man. That's awesome. You live there.
Yeah, 2 years now.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Ein bisschen?
Bisschen. Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
Got my
How many
Got,
languages do you speak, Damon?
I speak drunk. I speak English. I speak a bit of German and a bit of Vietnamese, actually. You boys left super quick, yeah? I was there for another 9 weeks after you left.
Yeah.
which
But,
is insane.
Yeah, we were talking about when we looked at our itinerary, last week, how quick it looks in
oh,
retro.
man, it's super quick.
Our trip was
Super
nothing.
quick.
Yeah.
Wait,
Give an eye.
if we get the chance, right, like, I have to go back. And I made a contact with a local, and I don't know if you saw, but I was like teaching English at one stage, which is ridiculous because I barely speak English myself. But if we ever want to go back, there's hospitality there for sure, and it's amazing. Like, you go camping in the jungle in Vietnam, and yeah, we have to go back, right?
How far north did you get? Because that's kind of the area that I would love to see again.
North. So our trip. Well,
We met in
spoilers.
Ho Chi Minh
Spoilers.
City.
Yeah. Ho Chi Minh. Spoilers to the listeners, but I had a crash between Dalat and Mornay. So you boys went
We were
south
with you on
after Pardon?
We were with you on that one, right?
Yeah, you absolutely were.
Okay, I didn't know how many crashes you've had.
And now you just bought another bike, dude.
So there was 2 of them. You filmed one of them, and then between Moyne and Dalat, I had another one, but that wasn't as bad. I could still ride after that. The bike was fine. But yeah, so we said goodbye at Moyne. You head back south, and I kept going north. But I got away to Hanoi. Sorry, I planned on going up to Haijiang, but it was cold, man. It was raining. It was literally snowing where I wanted to go, and I was miserable. My bike was buggered. My shoulder was buggered. Yeah, if circumstances different, I definitely would have gone. But it was
I remember
just
you saying that. Now that I think about it, because we kind of connected throughout the rest of your trip, and you were talking about how cold it was.
Yeah, the north is completely different because I've been to. This was my second time in Vietnam. Obviously, not with the scooter. That our trip was my first one, but I was in Hanoi, and the weather completely different.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I was wearing every single clothing I had. You know, like leather motorbike jacket, rainproof jacket, jumper, clothes. Yeah, that's English. Jumper, singlet, shirt, etc. And I was still freezing. So
I was certain that when we left you at that hostel and you were milking that injury to all the poolside.
Good stuff, man.
I'm like, he's going to grow his hair out. He's going to be that old guy working at the hospital who never left.
We'll come back in 5 years.
All right. So here's what happened, right? I stayed at that hostel for a week after you boys left, right? You're probably like back in America by the time I left.
Yeah.
So I waited until I could actually move my arm again, right? I hopped on my bike, I rode it back up to Delat. I go up to Delat, they give me an x-ray, they say, you're fine. I was like, sweet, no worries. So after that, I get my bike fixed, I just keep riding. I keep going north. It was a month later, I was like, this isn't right, like, why am I still sore? I go into a hospital, they take x-rays and scans from different angles, right? They're like, all right, your shoulder's fractured, and you've like ripped your tendons on your shoulder and stuff. This whole time, I just thought I was fine, so I just... And
that injury happened when you wrecked, or was it maybe like afterwards? It was
that was the accident, man.
So I have the video. We should just
watch
have
the video.
Do you want to watch it again? Or you got to watch it?
Yeah, throw it up. Throw it out there. We'll give you some commentation on it. But I still haven't recovered from that, eh? So definitely not milking it, man. There you go, the following clip.
Can you hear it?
Maybe turn the music down just a little bit.
Yeah. That's super loud.
Orange bags me.
So David, you give us the play-by-play. You're the one who's going.
All right, so I've overtaken you guys because I was trying to navigate right, and I've just taken off because I was having a great time, to be honest. And around this corner here, let's be honest, I was hungover and going far too quick. And the bike was going off the road.
You were hungover?
I couldn't keep her on. Yeah, absolutely, man. So we were. Do you remember where we were before this? This is it's a national park. It's like something or other. We're in the bamboo huts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What
was that place
I remember
called?
this. They were
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. So this was between there and where we were going, Mornay. So basically, I was hungover, right, and I was riding far too quick, and I couldn't keep the bike on the road. So it's either hold onto the bike and keep going, or just let it go and slide down the road. I don't know if you can see in the footage, but there's a bunch of rocks off the side of the road. I was like, I'm not going that way. So I just chucked the bike and I went sliding down the road. But I wasn't wearing proper gloves this day, so I ruined my hands and apparently my shoulder. But I was wearing like full leathers. Speaking of which, man, how good are these Vietnamese people, right? We're in the middle of nowhere. We're up on a mountain.
They come from? Like, that makes no sense.
Yeah,
it makes no sense, man.
It was crazy because I remember I saw you wrecking, and I don't know if you saw at the beginning of the footage, but I kind of felt bad because I waved you on, and I was just like, it's gonna pass me and go, like we're all gonna be fine. I was not thinking anybody would wreck, and I turned the corner and see you just like skid and then fall, and I was like, it's in the video.
Don't feel bad, man.
Because the GoPro mic's not. Right. I was like, oh shit, and then
so
showed up like within like 60 seconds. We're out in the middle of nowhere.
It was amazing, wasn't it? So we didn't exactly communicate this right, but I had like earphones in at the time, and my thing was like turn left in like 500 meters, whatever. So I've gassed it to get in front of you boys. I've got in front of you, obviously, but like I was going far too fast. Obviously, didn't know what the roads were doing. By the time I got to the corner, it was too late. But those Vietnamese people that helped us out that day, they were amazing. They picked up rocks. They just smashed my bike. Like my gear leaf was broken. My clutch was broken.
It gets even better. You were in kind of like, maybe shock is the right word. Just had a hard fall.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, for sure.
And I remember they came up to you and they lit a cigarette for you, and then they poured tobacco into your wound, and they put one of the mouth masks over it.
Did they put it in your mouth too? Didn't they give you one?
That really stuck with me. So like the dude pulled off his face mask, right? His face mask was absolutely filthy. And he pulls this off, he rips out a cigarette, he puts the cigarette like tobacco in my hand, wraps his filthy face mask around my hand, he's like, yep, that's good, you sorted. And he gives me a cigarette, and that was it. As you can see in the footage that's coming up here. But like I almost blacked out. I don't know if you realize, but I was like full on shock. I was ready to faint that day, man.
Yeah, you weren't looking good color wise. Yeah.
No.
You feel like a chip. You were like, I'm fine, like I don't know what
I knew for a fact. I'm like, sit down. You're going nowhere, buddy pal.
But
I mean,
we shook it off.
You were going.
We rode 3 hours down to Moyne after that, and then that backpack we arrived at was awesome. Like that pool and stuff. I know you boys left the next day, but I stayed there for a week, and I had a great time there. I let a great game called Monkey Ball or Death Ball. Did we play that together? The one with the pool table, the white and the black ball, and yeah, that was awesome.
I don't think so.
What do you mean you don't think so?
That game, I don't remember it.
So the aim of the game is to keep the black ball moving, but yeah, look at these boys. They're just pulling on everything. Name my sex tape. But, it was me in the background looking very disenfranchised.
that was definitely one of the highlights. Obviously not one of the more positive highlights of the trip. Like one of the most memorable things that happened to me,
for sure,
was just like seeing this wreck. Obviously, us meeting was a huge highlight as well. But what was the game you were describing?
Sorry, what was the question?
What was the game that you were describing that we all played? I can't remember.
The game? Monkey Ball or Death Pool. So basically, there was a white and a black ball all wrapped around the pool table, and the aim of the game was to keep the ball moving or to sink it. And you had everyone around the pool table. You'd throw the white ball at the black ball, and then the next person would try to keep it moving or sink it. If you didn't sink it, you had to have a drink. Anyway, it was a great game, and yeah.
I think I remember keep going and playing this. I don't remember playing this.
It was at the Moyne backpackers that we're at.
Yeah. Yeah, that night, nicer hostels we stayed in.
Absolutely, awesome pool, good atmosphere. I think that night I slept on the floor. You boys had the beds.
What were we that much of an asshole?
No.
You just wrecked. I don't remember that.
I remember the private room. That was nice. I mean,
yeah.
What happened in there, Nick? Hey.
Well, wasn't it before? Yeah, before this, we stayed at that shared hostel for 2 some days, and we sold out that street vendor woman's sandwich.
So that's from the Delat,
yep.
Yeah.
The pork banh mi.
The banh mi.
Oh, those were amazing. I remember she was laughing. I think we're like, we'll take 2, 3, no 4. All right.
Yo, Damon, I'm curious. What? So we all kind of had like a huge maybe coincidence or weird experience like meeting. But I'm curious like how. Like, I'm curious of Nick's too, but how we all got to Vietnam. Like, what made you go on this trip?
All right. So, me personally, I was working a job I hated, and I was studying environmental science at Sunshine Coast. And basically, I was at the age where I was like, I either finish this degree and get on with it, or I enjoy traveling. And back then, how long ago was that? I was 25 back then. So I was like, all right, I'm still young. I'll probably go travel. And my girlfriend at the time, she wanted to go to New York, and I wasn't particularly interested in New York. Like, I'm sure it's a cool city, but I spent 2 months in Vietnam, and it was amazing. So I've always wanted to do my bike trip. My original dream, I don't know if you've seen Long Way Down or Long Way Round, Ewan McGregor and Charlie Baldwin, but those boys, they've done some amazing stuff. It's like the UK to the bottom of Africa, or UK to the other side of Russia, and that was still my inspiration. Originally, I wanted to do Australia to the UK, but you need like 50 grand to do that, and I didn't have 50 grand, so yeah, I settled for Vietnam. So that's how I ended up in Vietnam. But honestly, it was a miracle meeting you boys, because I spent 2-3 nights in Ho Chi Minh on my own before you guys rocked up. I was like, what the hell am I doing here? This place is nuts. Like, I mean, there's food. It's like, I remember sitting there eating a dish on my own. I was like, this is not good.
But
Walk
next
us up
day
to
I
the
was like,
point then that we came in touch, like what that day looked like, or you remember seeing us and what made you
yeah.
talk to us, and it'd be
Uh,
cool to kind of get a round of how everyone remembers that, because that I think was a huge coincidence, but it made the trip.
Yeah, for sure. So that day we met, right? Basically, I was really disenfranchised. I was really down about my trip. I was like, wow, I've traveled all this way, I spent all this money, and I'm not having much fun. I was like, stuff it. I'm going to get this bike. I'm just going to go for it and see what happens. And you boys just happened to be there at the same company where I ran my bike from. I was like, wow, all right, I'm going to ask them if they want to ride with me. And you guys said yes, thankfully. And yeah, that's what happened. So we picked up our bikes. I failed to navigate us to that national park, but we got there. It was a great journey, man. Like, yeah, I can't remember the exact order of events, but I swear that day, like, we picked up our bikes, we hopped on a ferry, we got over to who knows where. We went from who knows where to national park. But on the way, we saw like a rat barbecue and all sorts, man.
Yeah, I remember we got lost a little bit there at the beginning. Google Maps
Yeah.
was kind of a huge saver. I remember Nick had mentioned before we went in our planning phase that you could download Google Maps for a certain area. So I did that for all of like Lower Vietnam because wasn't going to have like internet connection, and that definitely saved us. But we got on some sketchy highways once we got on the bikes for sure.
For sure. Yeah, man.
How did we even know where we were going to stay at nighttime? We had no plan. We didn't know, right? We just kind of winged it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we used Hostel World, like, and I think looked up like what the closest or next big city was that we wanted to ride to, and then just like looked at what hostels were available or were in the area, and then we just stopped in.
Just crashed it. Here we are.
What was crazy to me is the most expensive part, obviously, to the trip was the plane ticket. But I think everything else was, I mean, the hostels were like $5 a night.
Dirt cheap. Even the bike, looking back at it, bike was
The bike was, what, $60?
Shout out to Ticket. That was
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick, what about you? Where you were coming from? I can't remember where you were at that time.
Atlanta, and I was looking back, organizing some old photos. I was traveling all over, internationally, domestic, and I just remember saying, I don't know what inspired me, but wanting to do the scooter trip. And then I called Zach, got him on board. So all right, I got one guy ready to go. And then I remember going to Ho Chi Minh. We flew separate, met there. And we had no idea, Damon, like what we were doing. I had never ridden a bike before, like figuring out clutch.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't.
And I was a dickhead that crashed, man. I'm probably more experienced than all of you.
Like, we didn't know where we were going. Zach was GPS, and then we saw you, and you asked. And I just looked at Zach, and he looked at me. It's like, I mean, why not? Like at this point, we're just winging it, and it was one of the best decisions of the trip. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
I think it was a relief that there was somebody else who had been in the city or in the country a few days, and then also like who spoke English as well, and then we were all about the same age, and we're pretty much just like no plan. And so it kind of made it a lot more fun and perfect there at the beginning. Because when you go into like a new country, you're just kind of like, and you kind of mentioned this, you just kind of feel like, all right, like what, unless you have a plan and itinerary and locations, you're just kind of like, all right, what's next? Like, the world's your oyster at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
Super cool meeting you. But Nick, you flew from Atlanta to Tokyo? Did you go to Tokyo, or were you already?
Tokyo. I had an overnight in Tokyo, and I had been there before, so it was fun to hit up some like the food I liked.
Yeah.
And then the long flight, I got in. We met up late at night at a hostel.
Yeah.
And then I think the next day made the journey to the bikes, and then we were off. What about your? I mean, I know the story, Zach, but
yeah,
close it off in terms of why did you say yes to such a strange request. Maybe let's go to Vietnam and
A crazy.
hop on some bikes.
Yeah, so Vietnam, like Asia, has never been a area of the world that I've been like, yeah, I definitely like want to go there, right? It was never on the radar, never been asked, never thought it would be cool to go. Had friends who went, and at the time of my life, I was like, I just gone through a divorce, had lost a business, and so I was just like at this really like this point in my life where I didn't know what else to do, or like I was like I want to do something adventurous, need to do something to like get my mind off of things. And Nick called and was like, "Hey, I want to do a scooter bike to Vietnam." And I think you'd asked me to do some other like road trip type stuff before, and I just hadn't been able to.
Yeah.
I think I'd actually just finished reading, I think it was Mark Manson's book, Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And so I had this
that's a good book, man. How good is that?
I had this mindset where I was just like, why not? Like before I would have probably talked myself out of it a million ways of like either an excuse not to go or just, finances or just something. And I was just like, why not? Like you're 26, I think I was like 26 years old at the time, had gone through these major like life events and changes, didn't have anything else like pressing going on. Obviously I had to like wrap some of that stuff up, but I was just like, yeah, absolutely. Like saying yes or saying no would be like missing out on an opportunity of a lifetime to connect with Nick again, because I hadn't seen you in a while, and just like something new. So I remember we had originally like tried to fly together, but then ended up having to travel separately. And I'd traveled internationally with groups before, but was just kind of in a point where I was like down for whatever, like do something where it gets you out of your comfort zone and forces you to say yes more and not overthink things. And so like, I think that was like a huge lesson for me looking back, was just like, not overthinking, but like reading a situation, reacting, like letting things that made me uncomfortable before not let me be uncomfortable. And I think this trip was like perfect for that. I was stoked about it because I mean I love to travel, just like had never taken like a leisure trip like this adventure before. So got to Tokyo. I remember I got wasted at the airport there because I had like a 12-hour layover, so I had a ton of sake. And I think I got some sushi, or I don't know. I don't remember what I ate. Airport sushi and sake.
Oh gosh.
And then slept entirely on the flight to Vietnam, which I think was not that long. I think the flight to Tokyo was like 14 hours. And then knew I was meeting you. But it was just like an adventure that everything was new. And so it was a ton of fun.
I think about, we talked about Damon's wreck. I had 2 instances on that trip where I should have ate it. And I know you guys remember one. I can't tell you where the location was, but it was a big bridge. We were...
Oh, the truck.
Dude, yeah.
Yes,
that truck is
shit, man.
I still have no idea how we made it out there.
Dude,
I mean,
I thought we were going to die that day, man. I thought we were dead. Honestly,
we should have. There's no reason why.
I was still figuring out how to switch gears on the bike at that point. I was shifting when I was upshifting, and I'm like, they told me to like push down and like pull up. Right. I was like, this isn't working. And then all of a sudden, this coming head on, and Nick's like skidding in the back, in like right in front of me. Or
where was the Buddhist temple?
Wasn't it? That was after it. Because I remember there was the bridge and there was the road. There was where we were as bikes, and then I think it was a sidewalk, and there was...
So I went in first, right? You're behind me. I was like, I hit the brakes, and I was sliding everywhere, and you were like right behind me. You almost hit me at the same time while sliding on your brake. That was... Dude, I was shitting myself.
I mean, the trucks were like... I could have reached out and grabbed the truck,
Easily.
Yeah.
And then on the other side was like a huge drop off this bridge. It was pretty much just one of those like just like
I
shrink
think I
up
was on the way to the lap.
the gas. You know,
Yeah, that was scary, man. That was scary as hell.
just get out of there. That was before your wreck, right?
That was on the way to Elephant Falls, wherever Elephant Falls
Yeah.
is. But yeah, that was before the wreck. Those truck drivers are nuts, man. They are nuts.
So, what were some of the highlights for you? Like, even like while we were together, or after that you remember, Nick or Damon, doesn't matter.
For me, like, all right, so on the way on up towards the lap, we had like it was so much fun riding up that mountain. Like,
Yeah.
before I crashed, I didn't care. You know, I was riding up that mountain like I was a superstar, and I had so much fun. But also at the same time, for us, it's like the reward riding all day. Yeah, your butt's sore, everything else is sore. You just want to have a drink and maybe even a smoke if you're feeling cheeky. But like at the end of the night, like after a long day's ride, that was the reward. Like we just sit down, we have a chat about what we did, and we talk to tourists that we were, you know, right next to us, and that to me that was amazing. That was a highlight to me.
Nice. Yeah. Nick, what do you have any like highlights from the trip?
I just remember, like David saying, and this might have been more Zach and I on the way back. In fact, I think it was. We had nonstop rain, and there maybe a day or two, and we just had to be troopers. You've got that razor thin rain protector jacket thing you put on, and you're getting pelleted in rain. You can't see, your visor's messed up, and we just did that for hours nonstop. And then once you got to your location, or also I'd say the rest stops, right? We're in these middle of nowhere towns. We want a cold beer, and I still don't know how to pronounce it. Fa, right? Not faux, but fa, like with an A.
Yeah, fa ba,
You don't-
fa ya, fa ga.
Yeah, fa ba, fa.
Well, it depends.
You did-
Like cow, chicken, etc.
I mean,
Exactly. Like
We
you'd
had-
be some old woman's store in the middle of nowhere. You don't know what you're gonna get, but here's some money and just kicking back, and the adventure. That was the cool part. No plan. Bombing down a hill and there's a bunch of ox or a landslide that's already happened. It's like, okay, so plan B.
yeah.
I was so sad that you boys only had a week there. Hey, I wish you could have been there for the rest of my trip, but that's all right. We'll be back sometime soon.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I mean, I do as well. You know, like getting 10 days off in a row from work was like, that was the first time I've ever done that long. Besides like college, you know, which work in college, like, you know, there's breaks in college and then nobody cares what you do in college when you're college age work wise. So that was like the first like long trip I had taken, but would have loved to stay at least another week, you know.
Absolutely.
Months would have been awesome, but at least another week would have been great. I remember we were going from Lagui to I can't pronounce the name, Fong Tao or something like that, and that's where that rain was that night. I remember that because it wasn't cold, but it was just dark, and it was pouring rain, and I don't think traffic was super heavy, but like you kind of just didn't know what was around the next corner, you know? And
yeah, or even the three of us, like, okay, 1, 2, 3, yep, we're all here, okay, go. Or we'd pull into these towns with what felt like hundreds of people. It's like, all right, guys, stay together, because if one person gets mixed up, I don't know how we're gonna find you.
yeah.
After you saw me crash, you put that, yeah. No, oh, my goodness. I'm just throwing it on the floor. That's fine. All right, we're back up again.
Did you? There you are. Did you eat anything besides pho or banh mi after we left? Because I feel like that's all we ate.
All right. So I don't know if you always experienced it, but like at the backpackers, right? It's like a family stay or homestay or whatever, and they cook meals that I've never found ever since. Like I've gone to Vietnamese restaurants and I've tried to find it, but like if you can imagine like tasty meatballs and some sweet happiness sauce. Yeah, that was some amazing things that they served up at the homestays that I haven't found since. But the banh mi that we had in the lap, that pork one with what tasted to me like Vegemite and happiness, that's a highlight of the trip to be honest.
For
And that
for
was,
the American listeners, tell everybody what Vegemite is.
do you have Marmite there?
I don't think so.
Do you have fermented dog shit over there?
I think in Florida.
Okay. Florida has very, very good. So if you're down in Florida sometime and you have some dog shit, ferment it, and that's basically what Vegemite is. It's quite good with pork. You know,
Is it
who's
like
the judge?
is it a spread or what is it?
It has to be a very thin layer. Yeah. All right. So here, this is how you do it. You have your piece of toast. You have some butter. You have a very thin layer of Vegemite / dog shit fermented, and then you have this. And it's a good time. It's full of B vitamins. It keeps you going, right? It gets you through the winter.
Yeah.
So currently, like you boys are in Washington and Stuttgart. What comes to her?
Frankfurt, yeah. Close enough.
Yeah, Frankfurt. Same thing, man. So basically, it's far cold on here. Like, I'm in the middle of winter right now. It's like 15 degrees. It's 11 at night, and I'm sitting outside in a t-shirt. You know, like. How goes Australia? Come over here, no worries.
Yeah.
I forgot what your question is.
I've always wanted to go to Australia, like since I was 10. I don't know what it is. I think there was like a kid's book or something I read where the kid like called Australia, and it's just like always been like this place I wanted to go. But I want to go like on a trip like what you did to Vietnam, like a couple months, maybe get a part-time job thing.
Absolutely welcome here. So the east coast of Australia is the best coast to visit. The west coast, all right, there's a couple of cities. You got Broome, you got Perth, but it's not really worth visiting. The east coast, you have Cairns, which is like the main thing. You go see the reef, you see the crocodiles, you see the Daintree, you see all that sort of stuff. But where I live, it's more about the beach, and yeah, it was pretty much just the beach, really.
Yeah.
But East Coast Australia is where it's at. Yeah, you boys are very welcome to come this way, whatever you want. I'm actually moving into a place of my own in the next 2 months. So
Hey, nice.
That's all. That's all. Yeah, appreciate that, man. Yeah, so I remember like one of the highlights for me from the trip. I can't remember which hostel it was, but we all had like a family meal.
Like a family meal.
Yeah, there was like 12 people. I think it was at something elephant. I'm not going to get the name right, but it was like the Purple Elephant or something like that.
Was it Delat or was it somewhere else? So was a place.
We sat outside one night. I remember I had some smokes and some drinks. We met like English teacher who'd been there maybe like a month or two.
Okay. Was his name James by any chance?
I wouldn't remember. Yeah, he'd like, all I remember is he showed me a video he made from some travels, and then we met this guy who was like, his name was something like Jesus or Muhammad or something like that, but he was like, all he was talking about was like meditation. And I think I'm friends with him on Facebook. So this is really, really bad of me to not remember his name. But I remember he was at this hostel as well, and we all had like a family meal around the table, and the hosts served us different dishes, and that was really cool because everyone kind of just like connected and shared their experiences and travel and where they'd been in Vietnam, where they'd been before. And that was not something I was expecting on the trip, was meeting people from other areas of the world who had traveled different areas or were just like traveling in general at these hostels. So it was, that was definitely cool.
Is that the hostel that was near that cave nightclub bar?
Yeah, because
we remember that.
We went there with some of them.
Do you remember that?
This is since yeah.
I think so. It was that. Did you have to have an invite or something? But it was like It
was like you went through a cave and you could get lost.
Yeah. Okay. That was Delat, man. That was the cave in Delat. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah.
Forest bar experience. It's nothing I'd seen in the States.
Yeah, we've got safety codes and how.
This would not fly here because you're like coming over fake like tree roots and like up a ladder and over a few steps. Next thing you know, you're in this like speakeasy lounge where people are drinking and playing games and smoking weed.
This is average Friday night, isn't it?
It was fun. It was fun for sure. What Nick, like what are some of the things that you remember like planning wise that like helped during the trip? Anything? Or even Damon? Because you stayed there a lot longer, like, and we all traveled pretty light. Like everything fit on our bikes.
Yeah, we were lean and mean. Ticket, that rental company, I mean, props to them. They gave us the map. We had really no idea. Other than that, maybe we had a little safety aid. I had gloves that we bought, the poncho bag cover. I don't really give us props for being too prepared. I mean, we thought through it. Hey, this is probably our best bet. And then just kind of winged it. I mean, Damon, you look at your preparation and feel like you hit it.
Or like Kevlar pants and everything.
My goodness. Sorry, my boys. One sec.
I remember, Nick, you got a flat tire one time, and we weren't prepared for that at all. But again, like when Damon wrecked, like I think I was like maybe a kilometer, 1.5 kilometers up from you, and I looked back, I couldn't see you, and I was like, all right, so like Nick's not coming up on me. I stopped and waited, and you weren't there, so I circled back, and you had a flat. But again, it was like very
came out of nowhere.
Somebody was helping out.
Yeah, we were lucky.
Did you have anything, Damon, that like you had like prepared or like things that you were glad you had on the trip?
So going into that, basically I had my earphones and my phone. I pre-downloaded maps for Vietnam, and when the first day we met, right, we went from Ho Chi Minh to Cat Long Bag. It was what was the national park called? You remember we stayed in like a bamboo thing?
I remember that. The name, I'm useless.
Here, I've got I can pull up the map.
Basically, we were supposed to go to the national park, but we couldn't make it there because it was closed, or like the ferry wasn't going or something. But we rode from Ho Chi Minh to there, and I had the Google Maps in my ear the whole time.
Baloc?
So I don't know if you remember. You mean? Yeah, that's it. So basically, that day I had Google Maps in my ear, right? And we hopped on the ferry. I don't know if you remember. I got on the other side of the ferry. I was like, I do not know where we are, and we bought our masks. You boys put your dust mask.
Yeah.
I'm an neck sleeve thing, so I was sweet.
We had to buy those because we didn't plan on that.
How bad was that though? Like we'd be riding through the countryside and people just be burning plastic or burning anything, and it'd be just so unhealthy. It's like the service stations. You remember, like there was like dudes like pumping it, like
pumping the gas.
Yeah, literally pumping the gas, and that was crazy. But
I still have like 2 million dong. Like
I've got some money in my nightstand.
Which is
we need to use it.
Like,
you know what that means?
Yeah.
It's not a bunch, but I tried to convert it, and I think I was going to get like 20% what it was worth, and so I was like, I'm just going to keep it. So
let's go, boys.
Find it. I don't know where it's at.
I know you're in Washington, and you're in.
The Euros will get me quite a few.
Oh, yeah.
The Stuttgart, of course. Sorry, what? Where are you? Not Stuttgart. Where are you at?
Heidelberg.
Heidelberg, Frankfurt. Yeah.
Close enough. West Germany. All right, no worries. Let's meet in. All right, so we'll meet in Hanoi. We'll do northern Vietnam, and then we'll just ride all the way back to Europe. Zach, forget about America. Don't worry about it.
You can just crash with me when we get to Germany.
Yeah. Oh, Nick, how good is your Deutsch?
Ja, ich kann Deutsch sprechen, nicht so gut, aber gut genug.
Sehr gut, geil, ja.
I have no idea what you guys said.
I said very good.
It's a funky language, but yeah, I'm studying every day. I actually like it. I don't know why I enjoy putting myself through that pain, but
Yeah, aren't you in some classes, Nick?
I've been doing classes for 2 years.
Yeah.
Night classes. Yeah.
Your surname, is that Polish or what's your surname?
Ukrainian.
Okay, I would say close enough. That's probably offensive.
It's close enough.
Yeah, we'll teach each other German, and no worries, Dak. You'll just you just absorb it basically, essentially.
I'll just stand back, look good, do my thing. What Damon, I remember you were gonna go to Scotland or somewhere afterwards
Yeah.
in 2010. Did that
Okay.
happen, or what?
Okay.
How did your trip end?
All right, so you boys headed south after Monet. I spent another 9 weeks in Vietnam. I went all the way to Hanoi, and then went back to a village in Sao. We did some camping. I taught English, believe it or not. You know, I barely speak English. You can barely understand me. No worries. Anyway, so I moved to Scotland after that. I was with my girlfriend at the time. We lived in Edinburgh for a year. We do a lot of traveling. Honestly, Scotland, I love the place. I will, if I could, I'd move back there tomorrow. Like,
Wow.
yeah, we climbed mountains. We camped on the beach. Like, it honestly is an amazing place. I lived a year in Manchester after that, and although we did some traveling with England afterwards, I don't rate England as highly as do Scotland. But yeah, I wish I finished my degree in environmental science and masters in sustainable energy, because Scotland has so many opportunities in that regard. You know, like wind or wave turbines or etc.
That's cool.
But
when did you
Scotland
get
is
back
an amazing place. When I get back, I got back in September of 2019. So I've been here for about 6 months.
Okay.
I picked up a job, but yeah, since I've been back the whole time, I've just wanted to be elsewhere, man. Like, Scotland's awesome, but currently I just want to finish my degree. I might do my masters in New Zealand, in the South Island, Christchurch.
Nice.
New Zealand is essentially Scotland of the southern hemisphere. Yeah, I can study there for free, whereas I can't study for free in Scotland. Scotland will want like 20 grand a year, and I can't afford that, obviously. But yeah,
I've heard
I think that's where.
My brother was there. My brother's been in New Zealand a couple of times and showed me pictures and told me about it, and it sounds amazing. That's where you.
Absolutely, man. Like, so New Zealand has the mountains. So you got like the ski season during winter, where you obviously ski or snowboard, whatever. And somewhere you do mountain biking. That's what I'm about. Like, so here where I am currently, we barely have winter, right? But being ginger, you get burnt all the time. So what is the point of existing here, man? Like, I walk outside for 10 minutes and I'm burnt. So,
dude, I know the feeling. I'm about as white as they
Mm.
come. The summer is not good to me. Usually, like 1 weekend.
Dude, have you seen this? Have you seen this? What is this?
So what are you up to now? Like, I noticed you on Instagram. You're doing a bunch of fitness stuff, trying to get back in shape. How's that going?
I mean, it's a little bit. It's a bit of a projection vein, right? So I don't know if you boys are familiar with the psychology thing, but like, basically, if you say to someone, "I'm going to do this," to as many people as possible, if you say you're going to do something, the pressure of people knowing that you're going to do something sort of motivates you to do that or accomplish it. I've failed with gym in the past. It's like, all right, I'm going to gym. I'm going to put on this weight, or I'm going to look like this, or I'm going to be as fast as this, or whatever. But I just, out of desperation, really, I was just like, here's me currently. This is what I want to do. Help me out. You can abuse me. You can give me some motivation. No worries. Either way, hopefully I'll reach my goal. That's simply what I'm doing on Instagram. But what else? I'm 28, right? How quick does life happen? I really want to get on with it.
Yeah. We're still so young though. I'll be 31 this year, and I mean,
I know, man.
We're all within a few years, but it's like when I think about my past decade, college till now, it's like I've done so much shit. Like you can name like all the things, and it's like, but that's like the first 10 years after like you think you're an adult and you realize like you don't know jack, and you have like until 80. I have another 50 years. That's like more than two times what I've already, that's 5 more decades, So it's like we still have so much time if we, died, the normal average death, and it's like death age, and it's like when you think about it, it's like that's one of the reasons I love like talking to Nick and you. It's like it helps me like stay on my toes, not getting like stuck in just like the normal way of living. It gets me out of my comfort. That's like the whole reason I wanted to go on this trip to Vietnam, was just like I need to do something that pushes me out of my comfort zone to like keep me growing. And like you can always like keep looking for the next adventure, but it's like, and it'll always be there or whatever. And so I don't think like looking for happiness in these types of things is necessarily gonna bring it to you. Like, but getting out of your comfort zone for me has always helped me like get to the next level, or like think about life differently, or like you with your fitness stuff or whatever. It's like putting a challenge in front of you and like letting people know you're doing it and holding you accountable. It's like, otherwise you just sit on the couch and play Call of Duty all day. At least,
Yeah.
And
pretty much, man.
It's like I when I'm 50, I don't want to look back and be like, man, I did absolutely nothing. Like I have no good stories, no connections with people. And even at 50, you're still young and can like start over and start something new. But
that was still a great prime time. 20s, 30s is still young.
Yeah, I feel like everything's just getting started for me. So Nick, what are you up to now? You just launched this. I don't know, Damon, if you've heard of it. Nick launched like the newsletter. Like, tell us about
this newsletter. Tell me.
Yeah, I wanted to do like every week spam people's inbox and just share. Because I mean, I've been 4 international locations. I've lived all over the U.S. I've been almost 40 countries. So I've got friends all over and family. And I thought it'd be cool every week to do a short newsletter, just sharing like thoughts, cool articles, videos, documentaries that I come across, ideas. So started that last week. Kind of a cool project. Nothing to lose by trying it. But Damon, like you said, Zach's kind of been holding me accountable, or like I've told him for the longest time I want to do it. And it's like, okay, enough talk.
Yeah.
Like, put up or just shut up about it. It's been long enough. So
yeah, man.
Yeah, put that out. I'm gonna scope
the
back.
Review. Is that right?
The weekly review is what I call it. I got the domain too. Not that that's, I guess, a hard one to get, but I would have thought that would have been taken.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. I got yesterday's. Obviously, like, there's other subscriptions and stuff that I follow, but like, it's always, I feel like everyone's always asking on social media, hey, what podcasts like are good, or like what books
These podcasts are good, man. These ones right here.
Best ones.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah, this has been a project that I did, like, I think I was doing it actually while I was in Vietnam. I had like one episode that went out right before, and that was like the last one I did. And it's something I've kind of wanted to do, but just looking at like all the things I had going on, mentioning like closing up, divorce, selling a house, like all that shit, and then switching jobs, and I had like a bunch of side projects. this was one of those things I just had looked at everything I was doing, and I was like, all right, I need to pause it. Can't hurt. Can always pick it back up. And then Nick and I have talked about it for, God, I don't know how long, like maybe a year. And it was one of those things where
Really?
it was like, all right, like, and I've had people asking me about it too. And it's like, all right, like, it's not going into the, millionth page of Google or just like going nowhere. Like maybe someone will listen, but like for me, it's like people listen great. If not, like the whole point of it is like catch up with people and learn something new as well. And so it was one of those kind of like shit or get off the pot kind of scenarios where I remember like a week and a half ago, I was like, well, like who would I even talk to? And Nick was like, selfishly, I think, this would be a really fun conversation. And I've followed you, Damon, on Instagram, or I saw you've been posting, and I'm like, oh yeah, like that'd be a cool cat to catch up with. So this is super dope that we can, get together. And it's like midnight where you are, like 3 p.m. where Nick is.
That's the weirdest thing.
And 9:30 in the morning where I'm at.
That's fine.
You're having breakfast. I just had lunch, and Damon's on to the alcohol spirits before bed.
Love it, man. I got to try this old Polton. I've been on.
Honestly, man, this stuff is a business. It's excellent.
I believe you. I love some scotch.
Yeah.
Hashtag ad. No sponsor. I don't know.
Tequila. I'm usually like a whiskey or scotch guy. Like always have been. And recently I tried, and tequila has been one of those things where it's like can't touch it, right? Like one drink and I'm like, I'm good. Like the next day, otherwise I'm gonna like feel terrible. Well, then I learned like the right way to drink tequila is like slow over ice, like you would whiskey, or at least like one way to drink it that I hadn't tried. And so I there's this new tequila out called Terramana, the Rock. It's one of the Rock's products, and I was like, I'm gonna try it. It's probably like my favorite liquor right now. So I don't know if it's in Australia or Germany, but it's fantastic. So
Possibly, man.
I don't know how we got on that trail, but yeah, it's crazy that we can all get together and chat it up.
I've got an idea for the group. So let's kind of wrap up with talked about past, present, looking at future.
Yeah.
Like what bucket list trips do you have? And I'll kick it off. For me, I want to do what's known as the Cannonball Run, which is driving nonstop from New York City to Los Angeles. I've always wanted to haul ass across the U.S. in one drive.
Coast to coast.
Coast to coast.
What do you drive?
I've got an 80s Porsche, and that thing is
that
really fun.
That's here in the States? Is it Minnesota?
That's in the States. And to motivate me, I did the license plate that says New York to Cali.
Dude, that's awesome.
Just putting that out there. That would be for me, like the next bucket list trip. Damon, what when you think about like maybe put aside school, right, or like whenever that plays out, but what for you is something that's in the back of your head that you need to get?
If we just ignored finance or academic or everything, basically Australia. So Australia to anywhere is difficult. So I need to get to like let's say Singapore, right? I'll start at Singapore. I'd like to go from Singapore to Inverness, Scotland. So like that is through a lot of countries. That is through that's like Vietnam, that's Thailand, that's Burma, that's India, that's Nepal, that's the Pakistan. That is so many places all the way to Scotland. Turkey, Greece, Albania, Macedonia, Croatia, Slovenia, Austria, Germany, France, Netherlands, England, Scotland. It's a massive trip. I'd love to do that, but financially that is insane.
If you could pick
like 50 grand.
spot, where would you go?
What would I do that on?
Yeah,
Right.
if you could pick one spot, to travel to, like a Vietnam or like a Scotland, like
one place.
because you just said you'd travel pretty much the entire world.
So I've done that, but I haven't done any South America. So I'll probably I consider Chile or Peru or something because you got like the Andes there, man. And I haven't been to the Andes yet, but it's more the adventure for me than anything. I don't really care about the scenery. It's more just like getting from here to there, like going from Singapore to Scotland. That is an amazing trip. And if you haven't seen Long Way Down, Long Way Round by Ewan McGregor, watch that, man. It seriously, it inspires you. It's a great show.
Nice. Yeah, I think for me, I would love to see Patagonia. I'd love to fly fish in Patagonia. But I remember thinking back, like, kind of pre this trip, thinking like, all right, like, I was living in Memphis, Tennessee at the time, and I knew I didn't want to stay there long term. I wasn't going to didn't know where I'd end up or what I was going to do. And I had this thought in my mind of moving to South America or something, like visiting South America somewhere. Like my mom lived in Peru for a while, like maybe going to Peru or Cambodia or somewhere like that to learn Spanish and salsa dancing. Like, I don't know why those things are of interest or on my list, but I was just like, it'd be so fun because I can't dance to save my life, right?
Oh, mate, you got it. You get the hips.
Appreciate that. So that would be something I would consider, but like I would love to see Norway. New Zealand would be awesome. Not to mention
very welcome to
the northern part of Vietnam would be dope to see.
But I'm like halfway between the two of those things, so
it's true.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be sweet to make that happen for sure.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit. I'd love to go to Mars, as soon as they figure that out.
All right. I can't help you with Mars. I'm sorry. All right. You're going to have to sort yourself out on that one.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Good times. Well, anything else, guys?
One last memory is just hauling ass on those Honda bikes and maxing them out. And maybe that was only 100 or 120 kilometers, but when you're whipping on
terrifying.
that is moving. And I think, Damon, you had a much nicer bike than I saw. Right. I was always just tuck and hold on, kind of close your eyes.
You boys were on Honda Wins. I was on a Honda Winner. So your stuff got to like 110, right? My stuff got to 140. I was shitting myself any faster than you did, and I'm glad our bikes didn't go much faster than they did because so like with my crash, right? It's a good thing it happened when it did because we were getting super cocky. If it didn't happen then, it would have been one of you boys or one of me.
Yeah, I
was wearing full leathers and like Kevlar and like proper boots and stuff. You boys were wearing singlets and stuff.
I was wearing I had a V-neck and
honestly
and sandals.
Not to be dramatic, but if you came off the way I did, you wouldn't have an arm. Like you'd be screwed. So yeah,
that's about it now. I would probably prepare a little different this time. If we were to do it again, or if I was going to again.
When we do it again, not if, when.
There you go.
Your reunion tour.
Absolutely, man. And it's not going to be a week. It's going to be like a month or at least 2 weeks. I know you boys live in America, and America's like, oh, no, fuck yourself if you want to have 2 weeks or not. You're going to have more than 2 weeks, right? Come on.
No, I agree. It's a sin to try to do it in less. Looking back and I pull up our old documents, and I'm like, that was it. We had like 5 or 6 nights there,
I thoroughly appreciate that we had those, but like I wish we had more than that. Like, the fact that you boys went south after Mornay, I was messed up then, but like,
it was tough to leave. Yeah, I mean that was such a great spot.
It was.
Too.
Yeah. I think that place is full of Aussies.
We were kind of in the mindset where we had like 1 day left. And kind of when you hit I don't know if you felt this when you got to the end of your trip, but you were just kind of like, you knew it was coming to a close. And it's like, it's kind of too late to plan anything else or do anything else. And like there was this maybe like 18-hour period where it was just like we can do something, but like can't go that far. We turned in our bikes, like just kind of mentally we're like preparing for the 24-hour flight or trip back to the States.
But potentially not as defining as your trip. But so like with me, I was going to be there for 3 months. I was only there for 2 months. I was there for 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And I basically stopped my bike because I was over it. Like it was cold, and where I planned on going was snowing. I didn't have snow tires. My shoulder was stuffed from the crash. And it's just like I'm done, man. Like I've been on the bike for 9 weeks. That's good enough for me. But if I never had that crash and I had the proper gear to deal with the cold, I probably would have stayed there for 3 months. But at the same time, the girlfriend, she finished up a trip in New York and she was over in Scotland. She's like, come over. I was like, yeah, I'm ready to see you again, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I didn't have a girlfriend, I 100% would stay there for far much longer. And the crash definitely determined what was going to happen. But I don't regret anything. It was a good time.
I remember at first it's like she's not going to find out about this crash, and then there was the footage, and then
we talked about whether or not it's being shared.
That caused some drama, right? Yeah, boys. Like you guys were the only ones that knew about that for quite some time. I told my best mate, who's a rugby player. I won't specify his name because it's probably not. Yeah, it's probably not good. But basically, he gave me some advice because he's had a shoulder reconstruction and he's had injuries before. So when I crashed in Dalat on the way to Monet, he's like, just keep it moving, just stretch as much as you can, just keep it moving. And that's the best advice. Like, if I didn't do that, it'd be so much worse. Yeah, I didn't tell my girlfriend at the time until a week afterwards because that crash happened in the first week, right? And I don't want people to tell me go home to receive treatment or whatever. I don't want people worrying. You know, like it's the first week of a very substantial motorbike trip. I've already crashed the bike and hurt myself. So yeah, I didn't tell anyone apart from my rugby friend.
Yeah, smart move looking back.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I remember you were kind of debating that pretty hard in terms of treatment and like where to go. And I remember I think you got up early that day and went to the hospital or whatever.
So
urgent care. I don't know what it was called in Vietnam, but went and got it looked at. You were thinking on it pretty hard by the pool when you came back in terms of whether to tell her, whether or not you should go home. You were just kind of like, your weekend, your trip, it's already, your bike's already wrecked and you have to rethink finances and all this kind of stuff. So
I got in a lot of trouble for that day because I didn't tell her straight up, and it's just like, if I told you straight away what happened, you probably would have told me to go home. And it's like, I'm not going to do that for the first week. Like, so after you boys, right? You guys headed back to Ho Chi Minh. I went from Dalat to Hoi An. What's the road between those two places? I met a Swedish brother-sister combination. At the time, they were decent, but then they turned out they weren't. After that, we went from Hoi An to Hanoi with 2 Germans, and that was awesome. Like, those guys are friends for life, as are you, obviously. And I'm glad the events played out the way they did because, good dudes. And it's crazy times, man. Like, there was roads that were they weren't completed, right? So you mentioned you've just laid a road and the bitumen, or I don't know what Americans call it, but the black stuff that's sticky and you ride on it, the road, whatever.
Asphalt.
Asphalt. There we go. Yeah, that's the word. So basically, we were riding even English. Yeah, that's the language we're speaking. We were riding on fresh asphalt. And it was wrapping around our wheels, like it was that fresh. Like, it was sticky as hell, man. And we had to get off this road before people realized, because I'm not sure if you remember, but there was like roads for the motorbikes, there was roads for the trucks. We were on the road for the trucks. But yeah, it was nuts. So like when I sold my bike, I sold it covered in asphalt. Like there was just asphalt on
Oh,
the exhaust, on the tires, on the mud guards, on the, it was everywhere.
Did you get what you wanted for it, or like did you? Because I remember you bought it, but like,
Yeah.
do you feel like you like got back like at least a good amount for it, or did you have to like?
Yeah, it was amazing, man. So I bought that bike for $3,000, right? You saw me crash it. I destroyed that thing. I spent about $1,000 to get back to normal. The most expensive thing, oddly enough, was the boxes on the side of it. So those
Really?
European or Western things, whatever, the storage boxes cost more than the crash I did, where I like destroyed the gear lever, the foot peg, the gear changer, etc. These boxes cost more than that, and I only lost about 1,000 Australian, which is about 800 American, and I sold that, and it was fine. Honestly, Ticket or Tidget, however you want to pronounce it, amazing company. If I go back there, I'm going with something again, if they still exist.
Yeah, I would have.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully, I don't know how the this whole Corona thing is affecting your areas of the world, but hopefully travel will, open back up soon. How are you guys? How are you guys holding up?
It's changed already.
Myself for Nick.
Yeah, Damon, how are you holding up?
Me, but I feel like I've spoken quite a lot. But me personally, my hours have gone from 38 plus to I've done 7 hours in a fortnight. So yeah, I basically don't have a job anymore. But the thing is, right, so Australia is quite good with the welfare. I get paid roughly 600 Aussie a week, which is about 500 US a week. And that's plenty to pay your rent and have groceries. So I don't really care. But even better yet, right? I don't know if you have the same superannuation as we do, but I can withdraw $10,000 superannuation, which in the long run is irresponsible, but in the short term, I can cover my debts and live quite respectably. So yeah, I'm fine over here, but I don't know what's happening with yourself, Nick, and yourself, Zach, like in Germany and America, obviously.
Yeah,
So
it's changed, of course, in Germany. So I don't have anything to complain about. I haven't worked in 2.5 months, and I'm still getting a partial paycheck. So compared to those who, hey, lost a job, really have got nothing to complain about. But it's been tough. Like, and that's the motivation of getting the car today that we bought. I don't know when we can fly back to the States or borders will open up. So the thought is, instead of wasting the summer just sticking around, bite the bullet, get the car, enjoy the time that we have left here, probably another year or two, and drive the heck out of that thing. So yeah.
How's like mindset and stuff been in all of the no working and quarantine type stuff? Up and down? Positive?
No, I'm taking on, making the most out of the time, opportunity. Of course, it's easy to maybe get lazy, but I think I've hit it pretty hard. Trying to read a lot, get some side projects done, like that newsletter we talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird time. Obviously, like travel was, I think for a lot of people, life per the usual was you could just pretty much go, most places that you wanted. And I remember the weekend it all just kind of stopped. Here's like March 13th, 14th, or something like that, and life's kind of changed. I mean, I'm still working quite a bit here in DC, but they have pretty much everything non-essential shut down, and social distancing. You have to wear masks and take all those precautions currently. But every day's been different. There's some days that are good, and other days where it's like you really have to get in your head about how you're feeling about yourself. But everyone talks about it going back to normal, and I think like there'll obviously be a new normal of what things are, and I think my underlying thought in all of it, how it's changed, is just like nobody knows when it's going to end, or like when things will open back up, or what the new normal will look like. But like we're part of like creating that, and I've heard other people who 2008 lost their jobs and started something new, and it was like happened again to them now, but like they were like not immune to it, but they like kind of knew what that was like. It wasn't like the worst experience. We've kind of been through it before. It's like if we were to go back to Vietnam, it's like we kind of know the places, know the landscape, know the ticket, and like there's some familiarities there. And so I think like, however crazy of time it is now, it's like this probably will happen again in our lifetime. So I just hope it, there's obviously places I want to go and people I'd love to go see, but so hopefully things open up sooner than later. But
yeah, I hear you.
It's fun to do stuff like this and have some extra time to do that, and have the technology, to connect with people all over the world.
Yeah, I love you guys, but I'm not gonna be writing you. Not looking for any long distance pen pals anytime soon. So.
All right then, Matt.
I see how it is.
I guess I will go F myself then.
It's late there, man. I mean, we've been going an hour and 20 minutes, so it's
been a treat. Props to Zach for putting this together. I'm really impressed. It's like being on a show. It's all official. We got background going. I love it.
Yeah, man. There'll be a cool intro and outro. There's a guy connected with here who does beats. Beat Pharmacist is his name on like SoundCloud and all those places. So he has a beat he's letting me use for the intro and outro. So it's gonna be a little new, a little different than what it was before. But hopefully, there'll be some other people sooner than later that can connect with, and it's just fun for me to like learn about other people's life, work, what they're up to, how they're thinking through things, because we kind of sharpen each other and keep each other going. So
I've got to jump off, but I'll be talking to both you guys again soon.
Yeah, let's go ahead and end it.
Hey, boys.
Damon, get some sleep.
Yeah, it's 12:30 at night. I've had plenty of whiskey, but I'm really glad we had a chat, boys. I honestly I want to catch up with you again. Yeah,
it'd be great.
Definitely.
All
right, fellas.
Good
Have a good one. See you.
Peace.
And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Zach Pearson Show. Shout out to Beat Pharmacist for making this sick beat that's playing behind my audio. Makes some really awesome beats. He can be found on SoundCloud, Twitter, all the socials. Definitely check him out. And if you want to watch the video I made for the trip to Vietnam that Nick and Damon and I had, you can go to my YouTube. It is live there. We played a little bit of a clip in this episode for you audio listeners. Just search my name in YouTube. I have a few videos up there, and the Vietnam trip is one of them. Really hope you enjoyed this episode, and looking forward to delivering more conversations down the road. Until then, stay safe, stay classy, and we'll see you on the flip side.